Primarily, this is a criminal attack that police should be investigating, as the brain surgery, evidenced by the CT and MRI scans, happened when I was an elected member of local government in Australia. It's an attempted assassination. The implant in my brain, whatever it is, was put there without my knowledge. It was put there without my authority and without any legal excuse. The circumstances in which it was put there indicates it had political support. It happened. I don't know the date, but I know when it happened, which can establish the date. When I was elected in Wallandilly, I was nominated by my council to represent my council as the chairman of MACROC. MACROC stands for the Macarthur Region Council of, the Macarthur Council of Regional, the Macarthur Regional Organisation of Councils. Okay. MACROC stands for the Macarthur Regional Organisation of Councils, and within MACROC the members were elected members from Campbelltown Council, New South Wales, Camden Council, New South Wales, and Wallandilly Shire Council, New South Wales, my council. I remember when I arrived at that meeting, I was perfectly fine. The only thing I drank was coffee. And I remember when the meeting started that I heard people saying it's been unnecessarily delayed. And in my mind, I couldn't recollect any delay whatsoever. However, what I do remember is being kidnapped from the little patio outside the venue by two large men who pulled up in a sedan. But I am not sure when that was. I do remember pleading with people in a scene that appeared to be inside a surgery, which may have been the nearby Camden Hospital. And I do remember being in the middle of a surgery and being told, with people at my head, that they were conducting brain surgery on me, and that if I didn't cooperate, I would end up brain dead. So I had to answer their questions. I also remember starting the MACROC meeting when I was to be chairman for the first time. I remember that I felt considerably different to how I felt when I came in, despite only drinking coffee. When I opened my mouth to say my first words to open the meeting, the opposite came out, but I couldn't even get a proper word. It was just a syllable. I was totally unable to talk during the entirety of my first MACROC meeting when I was the chairman. You'd expect that my fellow councillors would react with sympathy. I remember looking at them to see how they would react, I remember looking at them to see how they were reacting. They were all stony-faced and all avoided my glare. Now, about 20 years later, I talk in opposites. I write in opposites, and people's reactions to me is that I'm a liar or I'm a drug addict. It's specifically when I have to scratch my nose because of the sparking from the implants. Because we're trained now, the body language tells us if someone scratches their nose, they're lying. So when the pulse generator in my gut becomes excessively active, I can demagnetise it to a degree to lessen the activity. And how you demagnetise something, as instead of using the plus or minus side of a magnet, you use the side and you rub the side over the area, and that demagnetises it. The pulse generator in my gut appears to be powered by my breathing, and the linkage point starts in my throat. The next linkage point is in my diaphragm, at the lower end of my lung cavity, above my abdominal cavity, where I have a strange hernia. And apart from the vibrating and the sparking, when the pulse generator in my abdomen becomes excessively active, it feels like it's expanding, so its parts must move around. This happens regularly, every single morning, just before I wake. It's actually what wakes me sometimes. This happens every single morning, just before I wake. I remember it every single morning because it wakes me. Sometimes I get out of bed, sometimes I don't. The pulse generator in my gut initially appeared shortly after an incident that was my indecent assault during the October 1997 local government conference in Port Macquarie. This is another separate criminal attack that police should also be investigating. As this pulse generator insertion surgery happened when I was an elected member of government, it's also an attempted assassination. The responsibility is on the New South Wales Police to investigate my attempted assassinations in the 1990s when I was a member of local government, elected member of local government. The responsibility is on the South Australia Police to investigate why my attempts to have these surgical items disclosed have been blocked by public officers and other medical practitioners, specifically in radiology or in specialist fields. To refute, this is handheld so it's shaking. To refute anybody's claims that I've falsified these images in any way, this is the actual MRI film on my monitor. This is a bit of tape holding it down the front there. I'll get that up. See, it's just a plain white screen under there. Oh, nothing fancy, as it all falls apart. And this is the one in question. That's the cable, which I believe is looped. That's why it's top and bottom. These cables, they loop them on the head when they do implants on the head. And that's my MRI film. Where's the date on that one? It's the 5th of April 2006, up there. And that's the cable looped on the left hand side of the head according to the MRI film. So it's looped on the left-hand side of the head above what used to be my part, where I feel constant movement all the time, specifically in that area where I had an open wound in 1997 in that area. That's hair around the edge that you can see. So that's that particular one. That report says it's all normal. And this is the 5th of April 2006 MRI slide, once again to prove that it's film and not a fabrication. You can see that's the film. Anyone MRI film, I asked at radiologists if you could reprint them and they said you can't. So I know you can't reprint them. I've got many in this particular radiology study, but I happen to like these two, so that's why I show them constantly, because they're the easiest for regular people to see. That's the cable there, and that's vibration there. Cable there, vibration there. I'm not really sure what this big hole is there, or this dark spot there, but I can tell that's a cable there and that's vibration there, because I feel both those things under my skin. I feel them. I feel the vibrations, I feel the cable, and you can see the effects of vibrations on that one. So that's those two, and that's the Benson Radiology MRI. And the radiologist said that was normal. They said these things were normal, which, as you can see, you look at anybody's MRI on the internet, you can see that's not normal. The person who took this has gone to a different radiologist. Chronologically, this was the third CT, or third radiology, second CT. This is on the 28th of June 2011. This was performed at the Noarlunga Hospital. You see up there, Noarlunga Hospital. This shows the abnormality at the top of the brain. It's quietly the lighter spot at the top, which looks a little bit aqua in colour. The same here. You can actually see, if I can get that one, you can actually see a white dot there. So that's at the top of the brain. That matches up with the MRI things. And what's very interesting is this very white spot here. That matches up with the glow over the line, horizontal line over the ear space. But it may not be that, it may be something else. There it is again in that one. That's clearly not normal. That is not normal. That's an abnormal thing. And the light space above the brain is abnormal. But once again, in this radiology report, the radiologist decided that there was nothing abnormal, when clearly there is. Okay, here's the three reports on my computer monitor on the white screen. First one, the referring doctor was Dr. Lim for the CT head, and that was the 5th of April 2006. The radiologist was Dr. Alberton, who I think is retired now. That's Linda Elizabeth. I think she's retired. The second one was Benson Radiology. That was referring doctor was, I don't think it's on there actually. Yes, it is. Referring doctor is ENT Dr. Neville Minnis. That's done on the 5th of May 2006. And the radiologist is Bill Loftus, fictionally known as William. This is the third one that was done at Noarlunga Hospital on the 28th of June 2011. Referring doctor is Kate Nielsen, and the radiologist CT head Audiologist Mr. Anthony Morfitt.